We're not Disney adults. We're just adults that like Disney.
We're not haters. We just have opinions.
We're not cat ladies, but we are childless. We're two entertainment creatives exploring culture at the intersection of fandom and our professional careers.
I'm Kalen.
I'm Jacob.
And this is the Childless Millennials.
My ADHD today is insane.
She's on fire. She's on fire.
My brain, like you were literally talking to me and I just walked away.
We were in the middle. We tried to start recording. We were in the middle of it. And it was like, I got to do 4 more things.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Anyway. Okay. Let's get back to reality. We hit the 1 million view mark.
No, that's so insane. Actually, okay, so I took a screenshot of the analytics on the video from literally 10 minutes ago, right before we started. We can update the numbers. So if this is your first episode with us, our last episode was all about Wicked. We posted just like a cute little short video on Instagram, as we always do.
5 seconds from an hour and 20-minute podcast of incredible content, but this like 10
this
second
like one,
video.
I was like, you know what? This is really good because it was like a theory, like connecting dots. I was like, this is going to be a good one. So we all collectively decided that was the one to post, and we hit the jackpot. Okay, 1.1 million views.
Wow.
On this video about Madam Morrible and how she controls the weather and potentially could have contributed to society's turn against the animals in Oz.
Yeah.
1.1 million views. I'll give you a few more analytics because it's fun.
Please.
This one is really impressive to me. Just from like a social media strategy standpoint, 47,000 shares. That video has been shared 47,000 times.
Damn.
Now, keep in mind, I just want to contextualize this for everybody. Our podcast is an infant. She's new.
Oh my gosh, we have like how many followers on Instagram? Like 200?
When this started, we had 114 followers when I posted that video. For 114 followers, for a video to be shared 47,000 times is pretty insane.
With a 1.1, that's
1.1 million views, crazy. We have since gained 200 followers.
Great.
Thank you so much for being here. Hope you're watching this episode. We will talk about Wicked again, but then it's done after that.
No,
I'm
not
kidding.
done.
It's never done. It's never ogre. Also, 69,000 likes.
Period.
If you're listening to this and not watching the audio version, I'm suggestively raising my eyebrows over and over.
Yeah, why doesn't it have 1.1 million likes?
I think everybody who watched it should have liked it, but that's fine. Yeah. Haters. This is really cool. And then we'll move on.
Okay.
Instagram, when you look at the analytics, gives you the math. Like it gives you all kinds of math. The total watch time for this video is 227 days. 8 hours, 37 minutes, and 22 seconds.
Okay, so if you add up all of the time, like that people, and that includes like if they just like swiped away, like if they only watch 2 seconds.
If they only watch 2 seconds, it counts 2 seconds. If they watch the whole thing, then they watch the whole thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, we did only have like a 30% swipe away rate. So only 30% of people.
That's my favorite statistic then.
Only 30% of people swiped away. And I do think this is interesting too. This is like a social media strategy thing. But like it was also just like a really well orchestrated conversation without it being intentional.
Yes.
Because your like 5-second long gasp came like right at the point in the video where normally people would swipe away. But you're so compelling and you're so stinking cute. It was the gay shock and awe that really.
That was a big thing on my YouTube channel, that gasp that my like followers like really loved. But I did feel seen when people were like, that is exactly what I did when I watched it. I was like, correct.
Gagged. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for
I hope we get some new listeners.
I hope so too.
Yeah, welcome.
And if you're not new, if you've been here, thank you so much for continuing to propel our little podcast that could into the ether. 47,000 shares is insane.
I know. And I feel like we're just getting started with Wicked.
2025 is the year, baby. Okay, so I wanted to start off today with going back to that video.
Okay,
we'll move on from the numbers.
Okay, great.
I wanna have some engagement with the comments.
Great. Okay, I have to be honest. So with my YouTube channel, I always read every comment. I replied to every comment. Instagram, I have not read I've not like invested in every single comment.
Yes. Well, don't. Some of them are mean.
Some of them, no, some of these people, I have questions. And we can say this because I'm sure that some of the comments we're talking about, they're not listening to this.
Oh,
which
no.
is totally fine.
But if you're a hater and you're here, hey, girl.
Yeah, hey, girl. No, I will just say right off the bat before you even dive in, because you brought this up in the last episode, the people that are like defending ruining a movie, because they're like, it's not a spoiler. I'm like, if you still walk up to somebody and you tell them what happens at the end of book 6 in Harry Potter and they've never read Harry Potter, like, you're a fucking
That's
asshole.
a spoiler.
Yes.
I'm sorry. This is a spoiler for Star Wars. If you've never watched Star Wars, this is a spoiler. If you just walk up to somebody and you're like, yeah, isn't it crazy that Luke and Leia are brother and sister?
Right.
Spoiler. That's a spoiler. I don't care that movie came out in 1974.
Right.
Like I don't know. I think
and the movie hasn't come, the second one hasn't come out yet. Like, people are like, I don't know. We had this whole conversation last time about the musical and stuff. And I was just like, why are people like wanting to not protect this? Like, that's what I loved about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway is that they handed out those pins when you left, like, keep the magic, because it was like, don't tell people.
Don't tell people. And to be fair, them. Like, I never saw Cursed Child, and still to this day I don't know, like, because people really did keep the secret, like, and I think that's awesome. Like, I think that's actually really cool, and I would prefer it that way. Of course, I could ask you and you would tell me everything, but like, I actually think that's really cool. And it's this level of like ego, and it's this level of like self-importance of like, well, I've known about this for 20 years. Like, it's silly that you haven't. Is how it often comes across. I know. I feel like it's so, I don't even know if elitist is the right word. I think that people who are intentionally looking down on others for not having seen the stage show is elitist. Musical theater is financially inaccessible to most people.
Right. Especially when you are literally giving away things that aren't on the cast album.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not there. Like, this isn't
Hamilton. It's not Phantom of the Opera where everything is sung through. And if you listen to an album, you know the entire story, right?
In fact, because we both just re-saw it at the Pantages, the stage show, and this isn't giving anything away to listeners, but there is a song in Act 2 by Nessa Rose called The Wicked Witch of the East. They chose to exclude that from the cast album because they felt it gave too much away. So it's like they're even trying to protect it when they're giving you the material. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just like, some people just need to just have fun. There's so few things we get to have fun with.
And like, let other people have fun.
Stop opening Christmas presents early for people if they don't open them early.
Yes. Also in that same vein, you know, there were a lot of people that made comments about like, oh, what do you mean spoilers? This story is blah, 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 this many years old. Also, like, just a brief PSA, can we not shame other people for not putting clues together? Like, not everybody watches a film or a TV show with the intention of analyzing and finding and connecting the dots. That's how my brain works.
Are you specifically talking about the woman that was like, my 9-year-old put that together?
Jacob?
She was like, my 9-year-old asked me blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay.
Oh,
well,
no, Jacob, I have a screenshot. The child in question is 6.
Oh, it's
so
yeah, which like I don't want to. I actually have people that specifically asked me. They were like, "Are you giving away spoilers on your podcast?" Because then I don't think I want to listen to it about Wicked. So that's why. But like, to discuss some of these comments, are we still protecting spoilers?
I am. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not
great.
gonna there are people, if you have not gone and seen this video on our Instagram and you don't want to be spoiled, don't not go to the comments.
Yeah, don't read the comments.
I'm like dead ass.
Literally.
And I won't talk about the ones that have spoilers right now.
Yeah. Well,
like in general.
Yes.
It's a minefield. Like it's a minefield.
It's crazy.
And you know, it's this concept that I have noticed recently. So like, not to be weird, I had 2 videos go viral in the same week, one on my page and one on our page.
Yes.
So I have just kind of been like inundated over the past week and a half with like a barrage of insane comments on the internet.
Oh my God.
And I've kind of been mulling it over in my head of like, people really do get on the internet and start conversations with people from a place of true and genuine belief that they are smarter than the people they're talking to. And it does not allow, I think, for like fun or positive dialogue in any way. Like people are just commenting with the intention that I am smarter than the person I'm replying to.
Right.
And I think that like that contributes to a lot of the negativity on social media. So if you don't want to go read the comments, don't, because some of them are fun and some of them are annoying.
Correct.
But let's talk about the child one, because I really did want to specifically talk about this.
Okay.
So somebody commented, meanwhile, I was on my 3rd watch when I realized XYZ,
like
my detective clues suck. Like, I didn't even realize this.
Which
and this
is so like self-deprecating and like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't realize that.
It was like, I didn't even realize the more obvious thing. I totally didn't realize this is how I read that initial comment.
Right.
Another commenter replies, my 6-year-old was like, da-da-da. And full spoiler in response to this person's comment, like, how did he know that? Response.
Oh my God.
Well, certain things are very suspicious. So I think maybe even people who haven't read the books could have picked up on that. Okay, cool. Like, we're all just saying like, haha, these are like fun little clues that we can put together. This person continues to go on and on about these things that their 6-year-old noticed, which I'm not going to say because they are spoilers for Act 2 of the movie, or Act 2 of the play.
Which I will say, when in rewatching the musical, it actually does feel like this specific plot point that they are beating you over the head with it in the musical. When I tell you I did not know until the moment it was revealed.
That's funny.
The first time I saw it when I was 13 or whatever, like it was not until the end of Act 2 that I was like, what? Like, yes, like talk about somebody like not putting the clues together.
But again,
at all.
You don't have to.
No, and I've seen movies
that is like, it does not make you a less critical or a less experienced consumer of media to not have put these things together. Anyway, without getting too far into it, because there are a lot of spoilers in this conversation, this person was just really, really, really insistent about how smart their 6-year-old was. And I thought it was really funny because it's like, okay, cool. Like, your kid has great pattern recognition. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Why are you arguing with adults on the internet about it? It was very interesting. We also did have a lot of really positive comments.
Yes.
There's one specifically, though, that I thought I saw this morning. I literally got it on the way here. Like, it popped up.
Oh my God.
Somebody put, I am gagging. And I was like, I think maybe we should discuss the difference between gagged and gagging. Because and then I was like, are you making fun of us? Is this a misuse of a colloquialism, or are we saying I'm gagged and you're saying I'm gagging?
I think I actually feel like I have said I'm gagging, like, and I'm realizing that is very confusing, but like
it's confusifying.
Yeah. It's gaggifying.
It's gaggifying.
Yeah. I think it was. I'm gonna pretend it was in support.
I think it was.
I don't think somebody would comment,
positive.
I'm gagging, like, ugh, I'm gagging. But
if you're watching this and that's what you meant, if you were making fun of us, can you just let me know?
Because when
no, like, zero shame. I have had to remove all sense of ego or shame from reading these comments, because the number of people who genuinely think Jacob and I are stupid from this 36-second clip, I've had to completely remove my ego from the situation. Like, just a PSA, I have read the book. I read the book when I was far too young to have read that book. I've read it multiple times. I've seen the stage show multiple times, and I've now seen the movie a handful of times. I know every single possible plot point that you could ever imagine. There's no gotcha for me. Just letting you know.
The amount of people that said, well, have you read the book? I was like,
tell me you haven't read the book without telling me you haven't read the book.
But I was also like, I actually don't think the book answers the question that you're claiming.
It's exactly.
And I haven't read the sequel, so I don't know if maybe in Son of a Witch or whatever that they talk about that. But I was like, you're acting like the source material answered this question, and it actually
doesn't. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. If you are looking to the book by Gregory Maguire as the source material for Wicked the movie by John M. Chu, you are citing the wrong source material.
Correct.
And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Right.
I'm going to leave it at that. All engagement is good engagement on the internet. The negative comments really crack me up at this point.
Because so many people like got it and they were like, oh my God. Yeah. Because like it was such a gag for me as somebody that knows Wicked so well. And like what was crazy is that I did not realize until we saw the show that line is in the show. Like there was so many things that I thought that maybe they were adding to the movie to like deepen the story.
That one is in the show.
Yeah, the whole thing about Morrible controlling the weather is literally in the in the Dr. Dilliman scene, I think, right?
Yep.
And so I was
it's in the first Dilliman scene in the show, just like it is in the movie, because he asks like when did people start to turn against the animals? And the answer to the question is the Great Drought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is actually, so in the movie, during that scene, there is a timeline of events on the whiteboard, like on the chalkboard behind Dilliman. And I told you, I found a bootleg. I told you, I was telling you this before we started recording, that I found a bootleg of Wicked the movie, and I tried to like scroll through and screenshot it, but it's blurry in the bootleg.
Isn't there?
Yeah, when you go back and see it, because I did extensive research, because I was like, if somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong, they need to tell me I'm wrong with facts, and nobody could. And so
Period.
So I went looking for a timeline of like, when did the Great Drought happen? How old is Madam Morrible? Mm-hmm. Because just like
that timeline isn't that on the chalkboard in the musical too?
I believe it is. Yeah,
there might be a picture of it in the Armory.
Oh, that's true. We could look there.
They have a picture.
Anyway, I was trying to research, and like how old Morrible is, I can't find a solid answer on it. Like I am going to go back and read the books, but I still don't know. There's like a whole change in Morrible's entire storyline for the show that's not in the books. Which I don't know if we want to talk about that, because that is a spoiler for the books.
I know, it's interesting because I actually feel like the one thing that people were commenting on that like is kind of a spoiler. Yeah, I don't think I can say it. Crap.
It's fine. We'll talk about it later.
I guess what I can just say is that it's interesting that there's this plot point that a lot of people were commenting on that literally is exists in the book but not in the musical, or vice versa, however you want to say it. That when people were commenting it and they acted like they knew what they were talking about, I was like, this is actually inconsistent in the book and the musical, but it is a huge plot point in the musical, but you're using it to
as
prove
like a gotcha.
Something. Yeah, and I'm like, it's not the gotcha you think it is.
Yeah.
Because like these details and these timelines and these things are not consistent with the book and the musical. Because when we saw the show, I actually was like, oh, Act 2 does need a little bit of cleaning up. Mm-hmm. Like there are definitely some like plot holes in Act 2 that I was like, we're going to be able to fix this in the movie.
It's like
because I was like, timing doesn't make sense to me.
Like timing is a little wonky, but it's also, I think Act 2 of the show requires the viewer to do a little bit more connecting the dots. It's not like as quite laid out for you as Act 1 is. And so I actually think that like the expansion of Act 2 for the next movie is going to be really rich. I think it's going to be really good because it won't require, they'll be able to add maybe new details. And I know that there's like new music and stuff. But I also think it'll just be maybe a little more satisfying as a viewer because you won't have to do as much like mental gymnastics to get to where they're going.
Right. Because like there is, I was shocked at the lack of dialogue in the musical. Like The Wizard and I ends and it goes straight into what is this feeling? And I was like, oh my gosh, like there is just so much more like scene work and like exposition in the movie that we added. And so like specifically,
and it feels right. It feels justified.
Oh yeah. Because the music is kind of metaphoric, and so you are connecting these dots that aren't actually. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend of mine that conducted the show for years, and he was like, "The book of the show is terrible," and I was like, "I actually don't think it's terrible. I think that it's a very complicated story that they have to tell." Very quickly, and you just have to make sacrifices, and you can't constantly be spoon feeding the audience because you're connecting things, you know, that you just have to do in music. Music can really help with the passage of time in a musical.
Absolutely.
But they were able to dive into that more in the movie, which is why I was like, oh, when they go to Emerald City, I was like, in the musical, it feels like it's been 3 years that she's been studying sorcery and stuff. But it was really cool to see our friend was on as Madam Morrible.
Yes.
And so I had a little Pantages hookup.
Oh.
And somebody had canceled their lottery tickets.
No way.
Yeah, so he was like, do you want to use them? They're going to go to waste. So we went, and I was like, when you say the Wicked Witch, like, I really need you to like say it.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
This Wicked Witch. And I was like, it was so good. And I like
gagged
screamed.
Or gagging?
Okay, so wait. Yeah, we got away from that. I think that gagging is like the act of being gagged. Like that's why my gasp was so long. It was the act of.
I'm totally messing with
you. Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
But no, it was like Defying Gravity ended and I screamed. I was just like, this is as good as it was in the movie. Defying Gravity, nothing. Defying Gravity live. There's literally nothing like it. It's
absolutely.
the most exhilarating.
It really is.
You know, Act 1 finale ever on stage ever. But yeah, it was. I'm just like, it is Wicked Winter, y'all.
It really is.
It is Green Girl.
It's Green Girl Winter. It was really fun because I saw it. I think like a few days before y'all saw it. It was really fun. The stage show. Sorry. Yes. It was really fun having seen the movie. I think I had seen the movie 2 or 3 times at that point, and then going in and going back and watching the show. It's just I mean we said this on the last episode that like Wicked is just that girl. Like she's that bitch as a show, as a story. Like it was really fun to go back and see it.
She is
because
I
haven't seen Wicked on stage in years. Like I've seen it many times.
Right.
But the last time I saw it was probably 5 years ago or more. So it was really cool to be able to go back and, like you said, notice those things that like, oh, we really expanded here in the movie, or, you know, oh, I can see like where this came from, or, you know, I thought it was really interesting to see how certain choices that were made by the actors in the movie like actually wouldn't make sense on stage and vice versa.
Totally. That is what I've been having all of my conversations about.
And it really just solidified for me the fact that like the movie really is so good because they fully understood the assignment. They're telling the same story, but like Cynthia and Ariana and Jonathan Bailey like really committed to it being a film medium,
right?
Instead of like doing it like a pro shot of a stage show. And as a performer, like, you know what the difference means. Like, you know what that means.
Right.
And it was really cool to see like, okay, cool. And I know a lot of people are like hoping for and pushing for this like blend of the two. And like people are saying that Cynthia and Ariana are going to Broadway, which like they debunked and all this kind of stuff. But actually like I genuinely feel like they should stay as 2 separate things. I don't think we should have the movie inspire future versions of the show. Like,
I kind of disagree.
I don't know. I like that they're 2 separate entities, and I think they both serve their individual purposes so well. I just don't want it to turn into this like, okay, well, Wicked was this, and now it's a movie, so now it's a stage version of the movie.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? I don't want it to just get bastardized, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure. I there's a world in which I was like, honestly, split it up into 2 parts like Harry Potter and have like Wicked Part 1, Wicked Part 2 where you're seeing it. But that's another conversation for another time. I was going to say really quick in regards to like back to our comments is like, I do love the way that people are really like analyzing the timelines and the story and the details. But like Wicked is not a like J.K. Rowling level of like detail. It's not like how Sirius Black is mentioned in like chapter 1 of book 1 and you meet him later. Like this is actually like Wicked the musical like does have some plot holes. Like it's very different from the book, but like really what connects it is like the relationship of these characters and like and everything. So I think that sometimes people are like mining for something that isn't there.
It's not,
because it really the music really is what drives that story. Like a play version of Wicked would be terrible.
So bad. Well, it's not the Wizarding World. It's not Lord of the Rings. Right. It's not Star Wars. It's not these things as of right now. It's not these like intellectual properties that have just extensive lore, right? And hundreds of novels and pages of written, you know, and TV like it's not, the universe isn't that expanded yet. Well, and so I think that like when we're having these conversations and people are chiming in on the dialogue about, well, that's not true or that can't be true because blah blah blah. My response is like, who says it can't? Like, just live a little.
Yeah.
Like, and I will say, I did say this to Zach the other day. I am a like Game of Thrones, Marvel, like I come from fan theories. Those fan theories are my favorite. Like that's like, I love watching something and going, oh, but what about, well, maybe when he said this, maybe it meant, and that comes from like watching things like Game of Thrones and Marvel, where there are Easter eggs, there are hints, and Potter, where there is one little tidbit dropped and you get the payoff for it 3 books later.
Right.
And so I look at things through that fan theory lens. And I think like really that conversation, nothing is going to give us the answer unless Gregory Maguire comes out or John M. Chu comes out and says, yes, this is true, right? There is nothing, there's nothing in the current lore of Oz that I think supports or refutes it.
Right.
So until we get part 2, and they might expand on that, they might not. I wanted to say that of like, I come at things from a fan theory lens. Like I'm totally okay being told that I'm wrong, but if to me there is not enough data in the world of Oz to actually convince me that I'm wrong.
Well, here, you know what I mean? To build on this, the fan theory to me is going to drive all of this because L. Frank Baum's version of Oz is totally different from the film with the Judy Garland film, right? Yeah. Like the shoes weren't even ruby. Like there were all these other things that happened. Like that was a also massive deviation from L. Frank Baum's version of Oz. Then we got The Wizard of Oz that America knew. Then Gregory Maguire wrote his version, and then Wicked is a deviation on that. You know what I mean? Like there is actually so many versions of the universe and so many like contributors. And yes,
it's like this is if we want to relate it to Marvel, it's like Spider-Man.
Yes,
there are so many different versions of Spider-Man, and they're like not really congruent at all. The Tobey Maguire cinematic universe is different than the Andrew Garfield, is different than the Tom Holland, and we got one sweet little movie where they all came together and they made it kind of make sense.
Yes.
And we got the meme and everybody lost their minds and then they all went back to their own universes to like fight crime in a spider unitard by themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes. That is such a perfect comparison.
And maybe we'll get something like that one day with Wicked. I mean, they're already talking about expanding into more movies and writing more. And like, that's awesome. Go for it. I would love something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I to your point, the Oz universe is a multiverse and it's incongruent.
Correct. And all that to say, that is why please continue to comment all of your fan theories on all of our videos. But also, like, let's just remember that this is supposed to be fun.
It's fun.
This is just fun and silly. It's not that serious. We can't go into a thing, but there were so many fun comments. So, like, thank you to anybody listening that did comment.
We had to clap back a little bit.
Yeah, but the fan theories are fun. And speaking of fandom,
yes,
I have a humongous, epic, gigantic superfan moment of the week. Kalen, you're just not ready.
I don't think I am.
Okay, so I literally don't even know where to begin. There is at
the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try. There is a Disney animator named Andreas Deja, or Dejas. I forget it. I always forget if there's an S at the end of his name. But he is the animator behind Gaston, King Triton, Hercules.
The Buff Boys.
Scar. Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of villains, but the Buff Boys.
The Buff Boys. I like that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what we kept saying to him. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
He started a holiday party in the mid-90s that he threw for his mentors, the 9 old men of Walt Disney Animation. The 9 old men were like the 9 animators that Walt hired that animated all the original, like, Snow White, all that stuff.
Yep.
And they're legends. So he started this holiday party for all of these, like, old, like, Walt people, like the Walt Disney people. And did it every year. Richard Sherman, who wrote Mary Poppins, Great Big Beautiful, It's a Small World, Madame Morrible,
Want to Be Like
Disney.
You.
Yeah. He used to, like, at this holiday party, sit down at the piano and sing all his music. It was a big sing-along, great, blah, blah, blah. Well, he has since passed away. And they actually haven't done this holiday party in a while, but they had this, like, service for, you sang at it.
I didn't sing at the Richard Sherman event. I was just there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So you were there. Yeah. So my friend Emily, who did sing, she sang Chim Chim Tree. Yeah. She, like, I don't know what happened. Anyway, after this thing, she was like, will you sing Disney music with me at Andreas Deja's holiday party?
Okay.
She's like, we're the Richard Sherman replacement because he passed.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you, we can't replace Richard Sherman. Like, that's not the same. Like, we're fans.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't write this. So, like, she asked me we, like, put all this music together, whatever. We go to the party. This house is gorgeous. And Andreas is, like, so lovely, so kind. And then, like, everybody gathers around and we do our show for all of these people. And so we stood in front of the fireplace with a karaoke machine for amplification. And we sang everything from Mary Poppins. I sang I Want to Be Like You. I sang Love Is a Song from Bambi. Like, we're doing a lot of Richard Sherman, honoring Richard Sherman, encouraging people to sing along. And then she's like, we also want to honor Andreas for hosting us. He animated King Triton. So I'm gonna sing Part of Your World. She sings Part of Your World. She finishes. And somebody's like, also, we have John Musker here who directed Little Mermaid, everybody. John. And she's like, oh my God. Like, I did not know that literally the director of the film. Got it. I was cool. But also, I'm now about to sing Go the Distance.
Okay.
And he directed Hercules as well. Great. And Andreas animated Hercules. So I'm like singing Go the Distance to these people who like made the movie. Also, what I forgot was that earlier when I did I Want to Be Like You, when we were rehearsing it, we were like, oh, we should do like a scat off. That would be like really funny. Just like shoving the mic in people's face and making them do like ba-da-ba-dee-dee. So there was this one guy doing it with her and he was like having a blast and being like super silly about it. It was Roger Allers, the director of Lion King.
Oh.
It was like
No big deal.
After the show, somebody comes up to me, they say, great job. They're like, oh, this is my friend so-and-so. It's this older woman. They're like, she's the voice of Anita. And we're like, Anita, darling, like from literally like Disney legend royalty. And I'm just in the living room. And then,
with a karaoke machine.
With a karaoke machine. And then I talked to John Musker and Roger Allers for an hour about the making of these movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like asking them all of these questions about like Howard Ashman, because I love Howard Ashman, the lyricist of Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid. I'm like, and they're like sharing stories that like they can't share on a documentary.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
You're getting like the inside.
Oh yeah, they're like dishing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what is my life?
I was like, what is my life? This is not Superfan Moment of the Week. This is like Superfan Moment of the Year. Yeah. Like meeting all these people, got pictures with all of them. John Musker was like, I'm going to like, what's your name? I'm like, going to follow you and like look out for you. They were like literally shooting the shit with us. Like we were besties. And the love in the room between all these people was just so sweet and palpable. And but so they told us many stories, which like I feel like could be a whole podcast. My favorite is that they wanted Elaine Stritch to be Ursula. Do you know Elaine Stritch? Broadway, like Ladies Who Lunch, like old Alec Baldwin's mom on 30 Rock. So they wanted her to be Ursula. Howard Ashman, which makes total sense. Like, because she's gay icon, Howard Ashman, gay icon. Of course, he would want her to be Ursula. And Pat Carroll, like, wasn't really, like, as big of a deal at that time. Like, Elaine Stritch had just done Company. And they brought her in for an audition. And she was like, I think the song should go this way, and I think the tempo should slow down here. And she started like she was telling him like how she thought the song should be performed. And he was like, no, like that's not how I did it. Yeah, but so after that audition, they went with Pat Carroll instead.
Wow.
But that was like one of like I was like, was Howard Ashman like really stubborn? Or I said, was he a little stubborn? And they're like, a little stubborn, which I was like, that's always what I thought. I was like, Howard Ashman seems like my favorite, like, little bitch. Like, he, I see so much of myself in him. Like, he just seems like such a little bitch, but in the best way, because he was so brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
My favorite little bitch.
I'm dead.
So, Roger told me this story that he was storyboarding the opening number of Beauty and the Beast. And he gave it back to Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, and he was like, I think that it like needs to build like to just like a little bit of a bigger build at the end. And Howard Ashman said, okay, well, Alan, why don't you play something on the piano? And Roger, why don't you just sing for me what you think my song should be? And Roger said that he was like, bonjour, I need some grapes. Excuse me. And just like started like doing all of these like townspeople things. And then Alan Menken literally remembered and like notated it all. And that's at the end of like, bonjour, pardon, good day, maybe. So he's like, yeah, I always.
Hurry,
he's
the
like,
baguettes. Hurry
up.
Yeah.
So he's like, I always felt like I like wrote some of the lyrics for the opening number of Beauty and the Beast. And I was like, that's incredible.
That's so funny.
And then I felt like I was on Hot Ones. Like I was trying to think of like brilliant questions to ask, you know? And so I was like,
I'm an interviewer.
Yeah. So I was like, what's something that you told Howard to change that then he went back to you and he was like, you were right, you know? Because that's the thing is like when I joke about Howard being my favorite little bitch, but like when people are really brilliant and they know what they know, they can be really defensive of it. But also a really smart person is going to admit they're wrong when they're wrong. And he said that the main one, which I think he's actually shared this story before, but that in Part of Your World, she used to say like, I've got fine china and patent leather and like all of this stuff. And he was like, she wouldn't know what any of that is. Like she only knows what human stuff is from Scuttle.
Yeah.
So she would have.
Who like constantly gives her the wrong names.
Yeah.
For things.
So she has no clue what any of that is. So that's why he changed it to Gadgets and Gizmos and Who's It's and What's It's. And that Howard was like, that was correct. Like that was a really good adjustment.
Yeah.
And I was like, it sure was.
It sure was.
My little
iconic.
Bitch is happy to admit when she's wrong. But yeah, that was my like
so crazy.
It was also such an LA moment. You know, we just moved to LA. Like it was just such a like LA
very
moment.
LA. Yeah.
And it felt very like just warm and inviting and kind and like it just we were invited into their home.
Yeah.
Like and this is like a spiritual thing for them. It's not It was not like a networking holiday party.
It's a celebration for them.
They're all retired. They're just celebrating. And
I think it goes back to something that we talked about in one of our like early episodes too, which is this concept of people who create these things and are still fans of the things they've created rather than being jaded by it or, you know, looking at it as just another job. I do think it's really cool to hear about Disney legacy things like that of people who are still friends and still collaborate together, or if they're not working anymore, they still hang out and they like have all of these fun memories and like they're proud of the fact that they worked on these movies.
Oh yeah.
And I think that sometimes people who aren't in like the Disney fandom, so to speak, kind of look at the like animated Disney movies in like a reductive way. It's like, oh, those are kids movies. And it's like, no, these are like grown, adult, professional, very talented people who put a lot of time and effort into these things.
Yeah.
And so then to know that they are still proud of the work that they've done and excited talking about it and that they still love being a part of the Disney legacy, I think is very cool.
I hate when people say that they're children's movies just because they embody a childlike wonderment and spirit. That's something
just
that
because they're animated or just because there's the Simba is a kid in the beginning. Like there's so many different arguments that we can make there. I just think it's very cool being in a room like that, or like the Richard Sherman tribute concert, where there are all these people who really do buy in and really do believe in the stories that they're telling, and believe in the power of the music and the power of Disney storytelling, and are still to this day, decades later, really proud of the work that they've done and still participate in their own way in the fandom. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I asked John Musker, I was like, what is your favorite? And he was like, oh, like, you can't ask me that. He was like,
it's like asking to pick a favorite child.
That's exactly what he said. But I didn't know. Like, you know, you never know. Like, we've all, well, I shouldn't say we've all. I don't want to like speak for other people. I know that I've done things where I'm like, this is garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you like have to polish the turd. You got to buy in. You got to like do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so I was like, you directed these films. Like, you genuinely created what you think was the best version and product of this story.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, you don't know if that's going to be, I'm sure that he loved Little Mermaid and Aladdin just as much as something like Treasure Planet, even though Treasure Planet didn't resonate with the world the way that those two movies did, you know, but he was just like, oh yeah, you like can't ask. The other thing that I actually thought was interesting, because he was like, your Go the Distance was beautiful. I mean, like, I was like, it was ridiculous. I was like living my fantasy.
Yeah, of course.
And he was like, yeah, it took us a while to settle on that song. He said that was like the third or fourth song that they wrote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they were like, no, not right. Not right. And they settled on Go the Distance. And now we have
Go the Distance.
I know.
One of the best.
I know.
So good.
So good.
I love that. That is really, really fun.
It was so special. I've been dying to tell you about it, because it was just like so wild and so fun.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we're going to do one more segment for today.
Oh, is it going to be our staple?
Our staple.
Our bread and butter.
Our bread and butter. Honestly, like this is kind of what we've a little bit become known for. I mean, at least in the people that I've talked to in real life that have listened to our show, and the DMs that I get.
Oh yeah.
Outside of Wicked Theories.
Yeah.
Wicked Theories have gone viral. This is not that, but this is like us.
Yeah, and this is
That's it. It's Violently Millennial. And this is a special Violently Millennial, because this is Violently Millennial Holiday Edition.
I don't want a lot for Christmas.
It was under 5 seconds. I think we're good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a Violently Millennial.
Is that song, I asked because is that on the list?
It is not, but now it is.
I think that song is maybe not Violently Millennial, but it's millennial.
I don't know. I kind of actually feel like that song like transcends the generational divide.
Good.
Like it's been the #1 Christmas song for decades. You know what I mean? And like millennials weren't the first ones to make it popular. Our parents were.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so I have a few.
Okay.
A couple of these are going to be just like general conversation, and a couple of them I do actually have an opinion on, but not all of them. Okay. Violently Millennial, white elephant gift exchanges.
That's millennial?
Is it? I don't think that it's specifically millennial, personally.
I don't think so.
It was proposed by Connor as a question of whether or not white elephant gift exchanges are violently millennial. I will say the gift that I received the other night at our white elephant gift exchange was violently millennial.
I don't think they are, because it's like in the Gen Z spirit of like reuse, recycle, re-gift. I actually just was listening to, so I'm like obsessed with Wirecutter, the New York Times Wirecutter podcast.
Yes, you have told me this.
Yes, and they had an amazing episode about people that are hard to gift, but like there was all of this conversation about like, is it offensive to re-gift? Should you not re-gift? And I was like, who's out here saying you shouldn't be re-gifting? Nobody knows.
No, and even if they did, like, okay, what were you going to do with it if you didn't give it to me? Throw it away?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I re-gift, like, why not re-gift?
Yeah, why not?
And I feel like that I feel like Gen Z is probably regifting.
Yeah. So you think like White Elephant is actually like a good forum for regifting?
100%.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, that was a regift.
Yeah, it was supposed to go here in the studio.
Yeah, I was gonna go in the studio, but I was like, but I loved it. I was like, oh, to me, that's what White Elephant is. To me, White Elephant is like you find the thing in your house that like you like opened, but like it just didn't really work, and it's like you're like all scrapping together. I don't think people should be going out and buying a White Elephant gift unless you're buying something like Connor does, inappropriate.
I did buy a White Elephant gift for that exchange the other night, and it was the one that got stolen 3 times. So I was really proud. No, the karaoke microphone.
Oh yeah, that was really good. That was really
so funny. No, can I tell a brief White Elephant story about my grandma? So a few years ago, we had a White Elephant gift exchange at my family's house, and my grandma, the Southern Baptist one. I don't know if it was a regift or if she genuinely thought that this was like a really good contribution, but her gift was just this enormous wok pan from Walmart.
Not Walmart.
Still had the Walmart tag on it. And so my family didn't really establish like a no stealing rule. It was just like kind of a free for all. And so my grandma kept trying to get rid of this wok, and people kept giving it back to her.
Oh, my God.
And so she ended up having to take the wok home. And she was like, I didn't want this. That's why I brought it here.
Oh, my God. That's really funny.
So that's when a White Elephant regifting goes wrong.
Yeah, that's...
Sorry, Grandma.
Yeah, I do think that White Elephant transcends the generation.
Okay.
Does this go to the second thing on your list, which is
one?
Secret Santa?
No, I didn't actually put Secret Santa on the list.
I think that's timeless.
I think Secret Santa's timeless too. I actually think Secret Santa's really cute.
Yeah,
Buying cute little things. I think it's adorable. Okay, ugly Christmas sweaters.
I don't think that's violently millennial.
I'm going to say it is, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because when I was making this list, I went to my favorite search engine, TikTok, and I typed in Millennial Christmas, and the first 3 videos that popped up for me were all ugly Christmas sweater videos. I don't know why that's what my algorithm served me, but that's what it did. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess ugly Christmas sweaters are millennial. I think on the scale though, because we gotta go back to the scale. I think it's very low on the violence scale, like a stage slap of violence.
Yeah.
Like a stage slap level of violence.
Let's like take this a little deeper, because the reason that millennials reappropriating the ugly Christmas sweater to be ironic is a very Gen Z thing.
Yes, it's
because
true.
like that is from the fact that like when I was a kid, I had a sweater. Why did a company
make a sweater that looked like that?
A sweater that looked like that, like with just like pom-poms and like crazy
Which is why we were so grateful
like,
once we got older that our parents started buying us Old Navy.
Yeah.
Because at least the Old Navy Christmas stuff didn't have tinsel and pom-poms on it.
Yeah, like there were real sweaters that were like meant to be taken seriously. Yeah. I had one, I think it had like a Christmas train on it. And then like Santa was in the train.
Shut up.
But like the Santa hat looked like they like glued a Santa.
It was 3D. It was
like totally 3-dimensional.
3D, yeah.
Like you could like read the Christmas scene.
Yeah. Like it was Braille. It wasn't meant to be.
No, it was meant to be serious.
It was meant to be from Sears.
Yes.
Dead serious.
Yeah.
From Sears.
Dead Sears.
Dead Sears.
Yes, like that's the origin of the ugly Christmas sweater.
And then millennials did. I do think millennials are the ones who started wearing them ironically.
Yes, but I'm saying that like our response to that is like very Gen Z.
Yeah,
but like,
that's true.
But because the whole point too is like, I hate how now companies will make ugly Christmas sweaters, but they just screen print like on a sweatshirt. Yeah. I'm like, that is not a sweater.
That's not the point. I need it to be knit. I need it to have the appliques.
Correct.
One year, Zach and I, we were visiting Nebraska around the holidays, and they have, I'm not going to remember the name of it, but like at one of their like main like big grocery stores in Nebraska, they also have a section that sells clothes. Don't ask me why. And they had this huge round display of like classic ugly Christmas sweaters. I don't know if they were like secondhand. I don't know if they were just like they've been in the back, storage room of a Marshall's for 30 years and we brought them out. Like, I don't know where they came from, but they were all like legit, like the knit with the appliques and stuff.
Yeah.
And we bought 2 of them because we were like, these are so cool. I got a black one that had cats on it. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
And then I put it in the washing machine.
Oh, and it exploded.
There was not a remnant of that sweater that could be saved. It disintegrated.
Oh, I'm sure. Sure.
It completely.
It unraveled like a cat with a ball of yarn.
Literally. Itsy bitsy black strings. It wasn't even like, oh, there's a hole in it, or like, oh, the sleeve unraveled. Maybe I could.
Yeah, no.
It disintegrated. Yeah. It was like I put it through a shredder, completely unrecognizable. I was like, damn, that was my favorite.
I also don't think they're violently millennial because I have taken many things to Buffalo Exchange over the past few weeks, and they buy that Christmas stuff up like it is nothing.
Because they know they can resell it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Your ho-ho homo sweater, they loved that. Oh,
Connor's like, you sold my homo sweater? This is news to me.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Okay.
Pinterest wish lists.
Oh, who's using Pinterest?
Millennials.
I use it to look at pictures for like our apartment.
Yeah. But if you're using it as a wish list, that was big in my family and like with my friend groups in high school, which is why I think it counts as violently millennial.
Sure.
Yeah. It's not super violent.
I think it's like a shove.
I think it's like I think it's like being bullied and shoved into a trash can.
Okay.
In high school level of violently millennial. Yeah. I think that's probably accurate for Pinterest wish lists.
Yeah.
And what's funny though, I should pull these up. I still have some of my old Pinterest wish lists saved.
Oh my God.
I do.
Amazing.
It was the easiest way, like, especially once my grandma figured out how to use Pinterest, like she could just click on the picture and buy what I asked for. It was easy.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Yeah.
But okay, next. Having a crush on Bernard from the Santa Claus.
That is nuclear reactor decimation of a nation millennial. That is violently millennial.
Did you have a crush on Bernard from the Santa Claus?
Are you joking? Yes.
Yeah, if you didn't, there's maybe something wrong with you, I think.
Yes, Bernard was so hot.
He was so hot, and he was hi, Oreo. Hi, baby. Did you have a crush on Bernard?
Oh my God, wait.
He was so handsome and also like good at his job, but then like sassy.
Cool and like
he was like cool about it, but then also like would like clap back.
Because he was giving like NSYNC Backstreet Boy elf.
Yeah.
And like the North Pole.
He was head elf. Like everybody respected Bernard.
Yeah.
There was something about Bernard. There was something about Bernard, okay?
Because everything I was like, no, not really millennial. No. And I was like, I actually don't think it gets more Christmas millennial than having a crush on Bernard.
And that's why that was the last one.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is coming out on Christmas Eve. So on that note, I'm going to have to watch the Santa Claus on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we should.
I love the Santa Claus. Absolutely.
The Santa Claus is actually one of 2, well, I guess 3 holiday movies that I will watch any time of the year.
Oh.
I will watch The Grinch anytime.
Really?
The Jim Carrey Grinch anytime. The Santa Claus anytime. And The Holiday. Those are my 3 that I will just be like, it's March 14th. Guess I'm watching The Holiday.
Yeah. My family holiday movie was Jingle All the Way.
Oh, okay.
Which is so random.
Yeah.
My family is so weird sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
ours was The Grinch for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't a VeggieTales like thing, but
oh my God, VeggieTales. Yeah. I loved VeggieTales.
I know.
But it's like violently Christian millennial.
Yes.
VeggieTales is.
Like the hairbrush song is
yes.
like violently.
Oh, where is my hairbrush?
Okay, next time. In the meantime, comment on anything. Please engage in the fandom with fun and love and give us.
And if you don't, we'll talk about you on our podcast more.
Period. And like again, give us a review, tell your friends, like engage. We're here and we'll see y'all in 2025.
We'll see you in 2025. Happy holidays.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy wicked winter.
Yeah, Green Girl Winter.
The Childless Millennials is a podcast hosted by Jacob Heron and Kalen Kelly. The show was produced by Connor Warren Smith with music by Connor Warren Smith.